We are slaying monsters.
Don't let the ghosts and the ghouls disturb you, darling.
Last time we were talking about Henry Mayhew and Charles Dickens and the possibility that they are connected. So I did some research on my own and I found the Esther M. Zimmer Letterberg memorial website. And on this, I don't know exactly who she is, and the website is very old, but she talks about how Charles Dickens and Henry Mayhew were in a play together, and they also worked with this artist named John Leech. So John Leech was a cartoonist for Henry Mayhew's publication, Punch magazine. And John Leech also did all of the illustrations for Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol when it came out. So they were very connected to the point where, like, this author postulates that they were influencing each other's works. She believes that the character of Gaffer Hexam, it's in a lesser-known Dickens novel, Our Mutual Friend. But Gaffer Hexam is a uneducated waterman on the River Thames, and she postulates that that character was taken directly from Henry Mayhew's London's Labor and the Poor and his interviews with all of these people.
More connections.
And
Yeah.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, we have the Christmas Carol connection there, right? Like, he was using the cartoonist from Punch magazine. So I think there is a argument to be made that Jacob Marley might have been based on Joshua Mayhew, Henry Mayhew's father. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to believe it. I
Me
like
too. I think you heard it here first, folks.
I think
Yeah.
you did. I don't know anybody else who's talking about it. So, breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news.
Breaking news from the 1850s. Scandalous.
Scandalous. Also breaking news from 2026. We
Yeah,
are slaying monsters.
that's right.
We got Matt, EJ.
Good job, everybody.
We got Katie.
Hi.
And I'm EJ. And we are we're gonna wrap it up here.
Yeah. We're going to take a plunge, not into London's sewers. We're going to leave London's sewers behind. We're coming to the sewers of New York City. In our last episode, we discussed the sewer swine of Hampstead and the queen rat, who allegedly protected the Toshers from harm when they searched for valuable loot under London. But let's talk about some different monsters, and maybe not exclusively monsters, but some different sewer myths that lurk beneath the most populous city in the world. Back in the 1840s, New York City was dealing with its own cholera outbreak. Implementing a new sewer system helped to mitigate the waste, and almost the entire city was switched from outhouses to sewers in just 13 years. Crews laid over 70 miles of new sewer tunnels in that time and expanded and strengthened the existing sewer system there that was first installed by the Dutch. But these tunnels may have served as more than just a new sewer system, at least according to rumors. See, by the mid-19th century, New York's meatpacking district had become a virtual open-air farm. This area had been a trading post for the Lenape, but was turning into a livestock yard, basically. So you had, pigs, cows, chickens, all kinds of animals out there for sale, for slaughter. And allegedly there were so many animals crowding the streets that they caused cow jams, like traffic jams, but with mooing instead of honking.
Oh, man.
Oh, poor cows.
Yeah, I know.
Probably so confused.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess they were coming in from the docks and then they were being moved into the meatpacking district. And so they had to kind of herd the cows through New York City's streets. And so you would turn a corner and all of a sudden it would just be wall-to-wall cows. To correct this problem, the story goes that during the construction and expansion of the sewer system, additional tunnels were dug underneath the meatpacking district. Not for sewage, not for water, but for these animals to be transported back and forth. They're called cow tunnels, and they allegedly provided an underground thoroughfare for the livestock to move from the railway and the docks to the meatpacking district without blocking the streets and also probably without pooping all over the city.
Wait, so is this true that this exists, or it's just rumored? I mean, you'd think that you would definitively know one way or the other.
You would think so. We don't really know. So they might have actually existed, but we haven't been able to find any evidence of them. But there are a lot of people who have memories of cow tunnels and have been retelling the stories of these cow tunnels under the streets for a long time.
You know who would know?
Who?
The Ninja Turtles.
They probably would, right?
Somebody call them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call them up.
I never saw a Ninja Turtles movie or series where they encountered cows under the streets. But, yeah.
Well, then it's not true. Case closed.
I just feel like if there were cow tunnels, I feel like there would be some sort of record of that somewhere.
Well,
I don't know. Or maybe they existed and then they just got turned into sewer tunnels. Like, I'm not sure. I just feel like that, to me, people saying like, oh, they remember them and telling stories of them sort of reminds me of the like Nelson Mandela effect, right? The Mandela effect where people, like a lot of people remember something, but it isn't true.
Sure.
I don't know, because I don't know. The ex-historian in me like finds it hard to believe that if there were cow tunnels in New York City, there wouldn't be any historical record of them.
Well,
But maybe I'm wrong.
let's talk about the historical records that we have then.
Yeah.
So Nicola Twilley, writing for Gizmodo, believes that the most likely location for these cow tunnels is somewhere around 12th Avenue and 38th Street, although historians and archaeologists are kind of divided on exactly where they would be. Allegedly, the tunnels were constructed from brick and lined with oak, almost like the inside of a wine cask. The animals were then funneled through from the docks at West 34th Street to the Manhattan Abattoir at the corner of 11th and 12th Ave and 34th and 35th Street. We know that the Manhattan Abattoir actually existed. Obviously, the docks were used to move animals back and forth. We know that some kind of livestock pen was constructed in the 1930s at West 38th Street because there are building permits for it. And according to the New York Department of Docks and publicly available blueprints, they say, a 2-story concrete pen was built at the southeastern intersection of West 39th Street and 12th Avenue. In addition, an extant tunnel was built by the Pennsylvania Railroad in 1932 to allow cows to be driven under instead of across 12th Avenue at West 38th Street. So
they made like an underpass, essentially.
Right. So
Or at least an underpass.
Exactly, yeah. And we have in writing that this thing existed, but we haven't been able to find this alleged tunnel that the Pennsylvania Railroad constructed. Now, it seems like an oak-lined tunnel underneath the city would make it pretty easy to find, right? Or at least easy to identify. But to this day, archaeologists haven't been able to find anything that looks like that, which is a shame because it would probably be eligible for restoration as a historic landmark. It's possible that maybe the tunnels were destroyed during the construction of the Lincoln Tunnel or any of the various,
Yeah, I was thinking it might
sewer
have
gas
collapsed.
projects, anything like that, right? But they may...
Can you imagine? Sorry, I'm just imagining like if they found that and restored them and then it's like, go see the cow tunnels in New York. That would be so cool.
Yeah, I would do
be
that.
cool.
It'd be so cool.
Yeah.
But they may still be down there. According to journalist Brian Whiprood, an unnamed Con Ed inspector that he talked to found cow tunnels under Greenwich Street while digging a drainage basin. And the area was described as, quote, an oak-lined vaulted tunnel 10 feet wide by 8 feet high that trailed off an undetermined distance in either direction. And the man said, it was then that an old man from the neighborhood stepped up to the trench and said, why, I see you found the cow tunnel. We don't have the name of the inspector. We don't have the name of this old man. We don't know how the old man had knowledge of those cow tunnels. But, and you know, it's possible that either of these people were just pulling a prank too. You know, maybe that was just a rumor that was in the neighborhood for a long time.
Yeah, but it's from the 30s, you said, right?
We have records of a tunnel from the 30s.
Right. Yeah, so I was going to say that's not that old, but I'm old now, so that is old. And a lot of people that would probably be, all people that were adults in the 30s are probably dead now.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Until a real archaeological expedition unearths cow tunnels, they're probably just going to remain New York folklore. But sewer cows pale in comparison to the most legendary New York sewer denizen of them all, the sewer gator. Okay, first off, before we jump into this, and I know that I probably had you guys do a little bit of research, but before your research, did you think that New York City sewer gators were real?
I think that, yes, because it's not crazy to think that people put their pet baby gators down the toilet or in the drains or something when they got too big.
Yeah, I came into this real fresh. First off, I did not think that they were real. But I did, in looking over our notes, I agree with EJ. Like, I could totally see people getting a gator because it's trendy and getting in way over their heads really quickly when they're cute little, like, 6-inch long alligator quickly becomes far too big or becomes like a little snappy,
Yeah.
And then you're like, this has gotten a little bit bigger, but now it feels like it might hurt someone.
Ooh, I would name my baby gator Snappy. I like that name.
Yeah.
Snappy's perfect.
Snappy, bitey.
Bitey. Yeah, I just feel like I just agree with EJ. I could totally see people getting in over their heads and being like, what do I do? And flushing it down the toilet.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I would have sworn that it was fake, and I was astonished to read about how real some of this shit actually was. So, starting in the 1930s, rumors started to spread that New York City residents were flushing alligators down the sewers. And allegedly, the poor creatures got bought as pets, became untenable because fucking, of course they did. And with no way to get rid of them, the New Yorkers chucked the pet gators down the drain. Maybe not, down the toilet, but at least like into the sewer in the street. Mm-hmm. Once in the relative safety of the New York City sewer system, the gators continued to live and thrive and could grow to a massive size. And some rumors even claim that the gators were breeding down there, and some claim that since they spend all their time in the darkness, they've developed unique traits like maybe they're blind, some say they're albino, some say they grow to gigantic proportions. In the 80s, there were a lot of rumors that toxic waste had mutated them. There were
It's a very 80s thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
that is very 80s. Well, I just Googled it because I wanted to know an adult male American alligators can get up to 10 to 15 feet in length.
Yes.
And females 10 feet. So, you don't even have to be exaggerating their size. That's fucking huge.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
These are really outlandish reports, but there's a kernel of truth in them, or at least in their origin. The first sewer gator was sighted in 1907 when a worker claimed to have been bitten. This man was named Charles Gids, and he saw something floating in the water of the sewer, and he tried to extricate it. And that object was a young gator, and it took a quick nibble on his arm, didn't really inflict any injuries because it was still a young gator. And he was able to pull it out of the water. It was an 18-inch long alligator. That gator had escaped from a collector named John Roach, who, according to the New York Times, welcomed its return with many thanks.
Okay. How did they know that it belonged to him?
I don't know if they posted about it and said, hey, if you lost your alligator, contact the New York Times.
Contact the New York Times.
Or if you put up missing flyers all over the neighborhood, like, have you seen this alligator? I don't have that information, how it got back to John Roach.
Boo.
The real heyday of sewer gators, though, started in the 1930s. For reasons that I don't fully understand, newspapers and magazines began advertising live baby alligators as pets. You could order your own cute little death machine through the mail, and it would arrive, quote, carefully packed, whatever that means.
Like wrapped up in fucking newspaper or something?
I know.
I found an advertisement in Popular Mechanics selling newly hatched genuine marsh alligators. They cost $1.50, which is about $30 today. And this is the tagline. I swear I'm not making this up. Think of the fun, the thrills you will have with one of these baby alligators.
You will have fun and thrills for like a couple of months.
And then it will just be thrills.
Then it will go south quickly.
Yeah. Oh my God.
People are insane.
Oh my God. Have you ever dreamed of waking up in a death roll? This little baby's for you.
In the wild, there are not really many fatal alligator attacks. In the last 80 years, there's only been 28 fatal, unprovoked alligator attacks in Florida, the alligator capital of the U.S. Now, I said unprovoked attacks. That's not keeping Dinosaur Death Machine in your Manhattan apartment like it's a fucking Pomeranian.
I want to say that this was that innocent time where humans thought that the outside wild world was totally okay to bring into your home. But that's not true because of documentaries like Chimp Crazy.
Yeah.
And we are still doing this shit. It's crazy. When will we learn?
I don't know.
Never. We will never learn. We're just like, but we're humans and it's an animal. And I know it's a dangerous animal, but look, it's being nice to me now. Yes. Yes, it is. And one day it's going to decide that it's not going to be nice to you anymore.
Right.
I don't know if there's also this element where you kind of think that maybe if you raise it as a baby, it will be like a dog, sort of. You know, you can tame the wildness out of the animal. You can't. You know, we've had thousands of years of domestication for dogs and house cats and animals that are actual like house pets.
Yeah. I just Googled how big baby alligators are because that of course said 18 inches, but I was just curious. They are 6 to 8 inches long when they first are born.
Okay.
Which is obviously like quite small.
Sure.
But they grow pretty quickly and they add several inches to a foot in length annually.
Wow.
If you got an 18-inch baby alligator in a year, let's say, it would be
2.5 feet.
It would be 2.5 feet. So like That's still like dog size ish.
Right.
But I just feel like that alligator is an alligator. It's going to be wild. I agree with you, Matt. I think we have this idea because we think of it as like humans, or we think of all animals as like domesticated animals, and how domesticated animals will definitely bond with humans if they're raised by those humans from being a baby. Even farm animals, right? Like cows and donkeys and ducks and things. Like
Sure.
they get really attached to humans. But like I think we can't make the leap in our heads to the fact that these are wild animals. And like I think also they didn't have social media then either, but I think we still have it now, where you see those videos of like wild animals being excited to like see humans that took care of them, you know, years later or something like that. And it's like, yes, but those humans would tell you that these are wild animals. Like as much as they love it, they let them back out into the wild for a reason. Yeah.
I think another element to this is that some of us as human beings want to be the one to tame the wild beast. I think there's something very like almost like tickles this part of our need to be the great protector and the toughest one in the tribe, and the one that's like standing up on the cliffside with their cougar looking out over the terrain. And you know, there's just something about it, I think, that appeals, and that what calls people like Joe Exotic to things like this, because they're like, oh, look how nice this tiger is to me, because I've earned it. It is wild, I'm not denying it, but it's my tiger because I'm special and you're not. There's just something about that.
Yeah, I hate that this term has been co-opted by idiots, but the alpha, right? You know, the pack leader that all the animals and the people that are in your tribe respect. Yeah.
I also think that like, I mean, we are probably going way too much into it. I think people were probably just stupid and they were like, oh, baby alligators look cool and could make good pets. And people were like, oh yeah, I want a baby alligator. You know how trends are. It's like, whatever. People were into like, there was that chinchilla phase for a while, and there was like the hedgehog phase where like everybody wanted a hedgehog. Like people go through phases of certain types of pets being in vogue. But like people were more religious than they are now. And like it used to be like human beings, like literally it says in the Bible, like human beings are caretakers of the earth, and all of the animals in it and things like that. So this idea, to your point, EJ, that humans are in charge here. So sure, we should be able to have that animal as a pet.
That's a really good connection with religion,
you know?
and dominion and things like that. That's a really good. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
They're all.
I like
it's
it.
all ridiculous, though.
It's all silly.
Yeah.
The thing is, people are still doing it today. I think it's just stupidity. It's just thinking like, this thing is cool. I want to own it. And that's all the thought that goes into it.
Yep.
Alligators are semi-aquatic. They need water. Like, I don't know any New Yorkers that have an 11-foot bathtub that they can put their alligator in.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Around the time that magazines were selling live baby alligators to unsuspecting New York kids, New York was in a particular state of unrest. Post-World War I saw a boom in commerce and the arts, and nowhere was that more evident than the Harlem Renaissance. An explosion of arts infused this neighborhood with music, poetry, visual art, and these all form kind of a backbone for an outpouring of culture. And then the 1930s came along, and the Great Depression clobbered Harlem. Black-owned businesses, which were once thriving there, closed under pressure. Arts patrons closed their purse strings, kneecapped this culture. While 25% of Americans were unemployed at the height of the Great Depression, that number was closer to 50% in Harlem. And that's, of course, because racism kept white business owners from giving jobs to non-whites. And so this once thriving cultural island transformed in less than a decade to an overcrowded, low-income neighborhood. In February of 1935, an unfortunate alligator was found in a storm drain in Harlem. Some teenagers were shoveling their walk and dumping snow into the sewer drains. And occasionally, as you were doing that, the drain would clog. And it was the job of Salvatore Condalucci to climb down and break it up so it could keep flowing. He's just a neighborhood kid.
Wait, how's he climbing down? They're like removing the manhole and he's just like going down there?
It's not the manhole. It's the, have you seen it?
It's that rectangular space.
It's the like slot.
Between the curb
Oh, sure.
and the...
Yeah, I know the slot.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
But how's he climbing down? Like he's literally just getting in the slot?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No. Okay.
It was a different time. Also, to his credit, I guess they were just throwing snow down it. It wasn't like there was all kinds of shit going down it right now. I still wouldn't do it. And I don't think he went very far. I don't think he was like scuttling off in there and disappearing,
Right. He's just like moving the snow out of the way so
Right.
they could put more snow down. Got it. Okay.
Right.
Still, no, thank you.
Yeah.
But this time he dropped down into it onto the impacted snow, and that snow took a snap at him. And so he scuttled his way back up, screaming, "Honest, it's an alligator." The poor thing was just kind of thrashing around in the snow down at the storm drain, and the kids had been throwing snow on top of it.
Oh, poor alligator.
According to a New York Times article, Condalucci had been watching Westerns, which were popular at the time, and he decided to lasso the gator. I don't know if he actually lassoed the gator or if the gator was just so cold that it let him throw a rope over it, but he and some of the other neighborhood boys were able to drag it out of the sewer into the street. That gator was about 8 feet long and covered in snow and ice.
Oh, that poor alligator. That is not an environment for an alligator.
No. I don't know exactly what they intended to do with it. I don't think they knew what they intended to do with it. But once they got it out of the sewer, it started snapping at them. And so they hit it with shovels and ultimately killed it.
Oh, come on. Fuck these kids, man.
I feel bad for this alligator.
This is terrible. What a bummer.
Sorry.
We're going to get completely derailed while EJ and I talk about how these kids murdered this poor alligator.
I know. This is very upsetting.
Though I'm also wondering if they had just let it start wandering around the streets, this 8-foot alligator.
Yeah, I'm not sure what was a better fate for the poor alligator. But
I mean, it
Leave
would
it
have been
alone.
killed either way, but
Yeah.
probably less dramatically. Anyway.
So the gator was taken to the Lehigh Stove and Repair Shop, where it was weighed at 125 pounds, which is honestly pretty light. It should have been somewhere around 300 to 400 pounds. It could have been a juvenile, could have been malnourished, could have been both, honestly. The police arrived on the scene, but didn't really have a whole lot to do except speculate where it came from. They decided that the boys acted in self-defense and that the killing was justified.
Little shitheads.
Still using that today.
Yeah.
It was ultimately determined that the gator had been aboard a steamer ship traveling from the Everglades, and it must have either fallen or escaped overboard into New York Harbor and swam through the water and into the relative warmth and safety of the sewer.
It's quite a tall tale.
I know. I mean, sure.
That's a little convoluted. Like,
I know. It's not easier to be like, people have alligators and they put one in the sewer.
yeah.
Well, apparently there had been a steamer moving from the Everglades north, and it had alligators aboard that I believe were going to a zoo. So that's what they think happened to it. It still seems like when that steamer arrived at its location, the captain should have been like, hey, so strange, we're missing an alligator. We lost one somewhere.
Right. That's what I was saying. Wouldn't that be very easy to verify? Like, I'm pretty sure if there was a missing alligator from that steamer, that somebody would have said something about it. The zoo wasn't just like, oh, we ordered 4 and we only got 3, whatever.
Nah, I don't know. Not if you don't want to get in trouble for it.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, I'd blame it on the Everglades. I'd say they gave me 3.
Yeah.
They didn't give me 4. Kick that can.
This was all posted in a New York Times article, which made a big splash. And Condalucci and his friends got their 15 minutes of fame as alligator hunters of Harlem.
Murderers.
Call it what you will. The story got a fresh boost 2 years later when a barge in the East River caught a 4-foot alligator paddling around. And later that year, a 2-foot alligator crawled out of a trash can in a Brooklyn subway.
Oh my God. I mean, that just sounds like New York to me.
I know.
If that happened today, people would be like, oh shit.
Oh, well.
You just sort of
Keep
move,
walking.
Yeah, you move kind of away from it and keep going. Yeah.
You're like, oh, well, the train's coming.
Yep. See ya.
Oh, man. Okay, wait. So I want to revisit the timeline because this is 1945, you said?
No, this is 1935.
Okay, 1935.
And 1937 was the trash gator.
Got it. Okay, so like within a period of 3 years, we found 3 alligators. 2 years, we found 3 alligators.
Right.
Okay, that is weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Now this is, however, right around the time that all of these magazines were advertising get
Right.
your own little baby alligator.
Man, that's so fucked up. We need regulations. When are we going to get around to that? That's crazy.
never.
Never. Also, Trash Gator is a good name for like a punk band out of Brooklyn.
Oh,
you
yes.
think?
Yeah.
Feel free to take it, anyone who's listening.
Yeah.
So after the trash gator, rumors of sewer reptiles calmed down for about 2 decades before getting revved up again, this time by a man who claimed to have spent his career hunting them down. That guy was Teddy May, sewer official and alligator infestation exterminator.
Was that his actual title?
No, no, he was sewer inspector, but he led a team that eradicated alligators from the sewers. Allegedly.
A guy
Allegedly.
you didn't think you'd ever need.
Born in 1874, May was a short guy. He was 5 foot 2 inches, maybe, not the best guy for the New York Knicks, but he was the optimal size to squeeze into tight sewer tunnels and pipes.
Hey, us shorties have a lot of use, and that's one of them for sure. Yes.
Going to small spaces.
Hell yeah.
So he worked for the sewers, and he claimed that he had a mental map of 50 underground streams, kind of like a modern day Tasher. But instead of looking for like miscellaneous lost items down there, he made his living looking for discarded criminal evidence. A New York Times article on his retirement in 1954 said, Teddy has testified on sewers in the high courts for more than 40 years, and his evidence has always held up. He has recovered murder weapons and robbery loot from cash basins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool job. I'm not going to lie. Like, I would never want to do it, but it's cool that he was doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, the police, if they had someone who was fleeing the scene of a crime, threw a weapon down the sewers, they would call up Teddy May and say, yo, this was tossed at this address. Can you go down there and find this thing?
And he would be like, yup.
Yep. Yeah, because he allegedly had this map of all the sewer tunnels, and like a Tasher, he also knew where everything flowed and where the drainage would happen and where he should look.
So smart. Okay.
He also famously exposed a fraud plot surrounding a ring lost by Nellie Grant, the granddaughter of Ulysses S. Grant. She was staying at the King Hotel and she accidentally dropped her ring down the drain. The hotel's superintendent tried to find it, claimed he couldn't find it. It had been flushed away down the sewers. They called in Teddy May, and Teddy May proved that a ring of that size wouldn't have traveled very far down the sewers. And a police search ultimately revealed that the superintendent found it and was keeping it for himself.
Oh, what a jerk.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's cool. I actually, fun side story, I used to wear contacts, and for our listeners, and when I was at summer camp, I dropped one in the sink and it went down the drain. And of course, I was like so sad because I was just completely useless in my glasses. So I didn't want to have to wear my glasses for the rest of summer camp. And the like plumber came in and like took apart the pipe, and it was in the pipe, like in the bottom loop of the pipe, because I, of course, immediately turned the water off so it hadn't flushed very far.
Yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't know, I wore hard contacts. Those things are super tiny and they're very light. So like if a contact isn't going very far down a drain, if you turn the water off, a ring is not going very far down a drain.
So all of that is to say that if there was a sewer expert in New York during the 20th century, that's Teddy May. And so when his obituary put him front and center of an alligator task force, everyone in New York took notice. It said, once Mr. May led a squad in clearing the sewers of a number of live alligators discarded in the sewers as tiny pets, which had survived and grown large. This Expendables-style sewer sweep was immortalized in the book The World Beneath the City by Robert Daly in 1959. According to this account, Teddy May initially thought the whole thing was bullshit, because of course you would, right? He claimed, there ain't no alligators in my sewers. But when he actually investigated, he came upon a colony of alligators and said, this is from the book, the beam of his flashlight had spotlighted alligators whose length, on average, was about 2 feet. Some may have been longer. Avoiding the swift current of the trunk lines under major avenues, the beasts had wormed up the smaller pipes under less important neighborhoods, and there Teddy had found them. The colony appeared to have settled contentedly under the very streets of the busiest city in the world.
Oh man, if there was a colony then of that size, there's gotta be one now that's bigger. Just makes sense.
My question is again like the sunlight, right? Mm-hmm. Like they need warmth and sunlight. So, but maybe they don't need that much of it, and that's why they're so small. Like maybe they hadn't grown very big because they weren't getting enough like nutrients and things. But that's crazy if we believe him.
If we believe him, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So the story goes that May outfitted a hand-picked team with .22 caliber rifles, and they went on an impromptu safari. Now, I don't know how much of this story is true. Robert Daly specifically interviewed Teddy May after his retirement when he was 80. May was very well known for telling tall tales of his sewer antics and had transformed himself into something of a legend. That's why Daly interviewed him in the first place. May's story hit the presses in the late 1950s, at a time when New York City's identity was kind of on the rise. This is now post-World War II, that economic boom. The city became a very prominent center for commerce and prosperity. New York was almost a mythic place at that point. You had Sinatra singing about it, right? You know, modernity is flowing there. Dreams are made, businesses thrive. To me, it's a little similar to London a century before. The same way that we saw Londoners building this middle class on trade and manufacturing, we see New York being redefined as humanity lives and works in these urban environments. It's a cultural explosion. Just like we saw in London, New York found its own mythology connected to their undercity. These alligators, kind of like the sewer swine, these are a bestial reminder that no matter how grand the city becomes, no matter how, cultural, no matter how affluent the city is, there is still a feral animalism beneath it. This time, just every bit as exotic and untamed as New York City itself. The current sewer gator expert is John Flattery, Chief of Design of the Bureau of Sewers in New York. In a 1982 New York Times article, he said, "I could cite you many cogent, logical reasons why the sewer system is not a fit habitat for an alligator, but suffice it to say that in 28 years I have been in the sewer game. Neither I nor any of the thousands of men who have worked to build, maintain, or repair the sewer system has ever seen one."
And he doesn't really have a big reason to lie about that, because
Yeah.
people shouldn't be going down there anyway, and I feel like that's a big deterrent. So if he would say there were tons of alligators down there, people wouldn't want to go down there.
Yeah, right.
So
Also, it's a cool story. Like, if it was true, I feel like you would want to say, maybe if it's not a lot, like even if you're just like, yeah, I did see one once, I don't think there's a ton down there, but it
there was
happens
one.
occasionally or something. Yeah. And he's like, no, never, not once.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say, like, I'll compare it to this, right? My dad, I think I don't know if I've told this story live on this podcast before, but like, I know Matt and EJ, you both know about it. My dad was a police officer, and he saw lots of shit in his like 35-year career, and he doesn't believe in ghosts, but he does have one ghost story.
Yeah.
So, I feel like you get at least one if there's something going on, maybe.
Right. So you're like, oh, there are no alligators in the sewers, although I did see one time. Yeah. They don't live down there, but there was a rogue one, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it does happen.
at some point, Katie, I do want to hear this ghost story.
Katie.
Oh,
Katie told it.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, when? What is it?
That's the one where there was the apartment.
it was at this inn restaurant.
Okay.
And the new kid was like, "Oh, this old guy asked for a drink.
Yeah.
He's staying in this room." And the bartender and the manager were like, "There isn't anyone staying in the hotel." And they literally called the cops.
Yeah.
Because like the kid like saw a dude asked him for a drink.
Yeah, thought there was somebody like trespassing, right?
Yeah.
Like
and then when my
squatting
dad
there.
went there, and then when my dad went to the room, there were no tracks on the freshly vacuumed carpet, but it looked like the door was open to the room where the kid had said, and then there weren't tracks on the carpet, but there was a dent in the bed, like someone had been sitting or lying on it.
So cool.
Which is so cool and so weird. So yeah.
Yeah.
My dad has a ghost story, 35 years of being called for nothing.
Well, we don't need to get too tangential, but what was he called for other like supernatural stuff, like ghost stuff? Okay.
No. That's his only story of being called for something like supernatural.
Okay.
Where it was like clearly weird. It's possible that like he got called for other things, but it never occurred to him that it might have been supernatural because like,
Sure.
It was just like, no, there's nobody here. And the person was like, oh, okay,
Right.
That was like definitively.
Yeah, there should be someone here and there's not.
It's not like, oh, I heard someone. It's like, no, I spoke to someone.
Yeah.
Who's not supposed to be here. I know, wild.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Truthfully, the environment of New York sewers is terrible for alligators. There's not nearly enough food down there, and the food that is available has been, as Flattery says, pre-digested.
Ooh.
So that means that any living gator colony would be regularly subjected to a bunch of harmful bacteria. Also, alligators are apex predators. They're not scavengers. They need a diet of animal meat like birds and mammals, not human waste.
Animals that eat those types of things, like it's not just the nutrition, right? It's like that's how they keep their teeth sharp. That's how they keep their jaws strong. Like that's how they maintain the way that they're supposed to be. Part of that is through like catching and eating their food. So it would really be like deterioratory. Is that a word? They would deteriorate, I feel like, in the sewers.
And on top of that, the fluctuating temperatures and bitter, bitter cold winters would probably kill any alligators that managed to survive the other seasons. Heavy rainstorms can flood the sewers and potentially drown any animal that can't get to high ground because alligators breathe air, not water. And maybe Flattery's best argument against the sewer gator is simply money. No union has ever lobbied for higher wages due to the dangers of working around alligators. All that said, there is a place where you might find gators in the sewers for real. But that's 1,000 miles away in Florida. Alan Ivory was a PhD student at the University of Florida and found that Gainesville's storm drains were regular highways for traveling alligators. His team set up trail cameras in the sewers, and over 2 months of observation, they counted 50 alligator sightings.
Oh my God.
2 months. Many were using the sewers as a way to get around the streets, and some even used them as hunting traps almost. They would herd fish into dead-end tunnels, corner them, and then go to town.
Wow. So clever.
Yeah.
So smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
In his paper, Ivory said he was blown away, and this is a quote, "It's like something out of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles."
Nice.
Outside of Florida, sewer gators are extremely rare, but are sometimes found. The most famous subterranean reptile was Eleanor, a Nile crocodile. She was found in the Paris sewers by workers under the Rue du Pont Neuf, just under the Seine. Eleanor was chilling, just eating rats and having a great time. Bon temps.
Très bien. Well, what happened? What happened to her? Did they beat her with a shovel, or was she okay?
They did not.
Good.
So the Paris sewer department contacted the fire department, who captured her alive. And she was taken to the Paris Zoo, where she was rehabilitated.
Oh, that's nice. I bet she's happier there.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
alligators live quite a long time, don't they? I think they do.
Yeah, she was a crocodile, but
Crocodile.
Yeah, but kind of the same deal in terms of longevity. I think that they have close to a human lifespan.
30 to 50 years in the wild.
Okay.
In captivity, they can survive over 70 years, and some exceptional ones at certain zoos have lived to be over 80. But that's because, they have steady food supply, no predators, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, they can live to be as long as humans.
Eleanor, they estimated that she was young. She had been abandoned recently, and that she probably would not have survived in the sewers if they hadn't been able to find her and capture her.
Oh.
She was 3 feet long, and they assumed that she probably just became too hard for her owner to handle, and she was thrown down the sewer. She lived out the remainder of her life, and I believe she died in 2020 at the age of 40. She has a replacement, though. According to the Dreamer at Heart blog, there is a new crocodile that hangs out at the Canal Saint Martin in the... Go ahead, Katie. Fix me.
Yeah, the Canal Saint Martin. Wait.
Saint Martin?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Canal Saint Martin. An unnamed man there operates a remote control crocodile bottle, which he sometimes floats in the Seine. All of that seems to be based on a popular children's book, Kylie the Crocodile, about a crocodile who lives in the river there and goes on adventures.
Oh, that's cute.
As a side note, Paris used to clean its sewers by, seriously, rolling a giant ball through the tunnels, Indiana Jones style. They were made of metal and wood, and they would gain velocity as they traveled and slam into the solid materials and cause them to, quote, pass violently.
Oh
It's kind of clever.
Just like a giant marble game.
Yeah, exactly. You used to be able to take boat tours of the Paris sewers, and they're no longer available for very obvious reasons.
I don't know.
Seems pretty gross down
I feel
there.
like it would smell bad.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't. This whole notion of like going down into the sewers is weird to me. As a tourist attraction, it's strange.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to go, and I've never been to the catacombs, and I do want to do that.
See, I think that's cool. It's not a waste place. I mean, I guess it kind of is, but it's not really like that wasn't really the intention behind it to just throw your shit and trash down there. That's what the sewers is. David Castleton, a historian, considers these sewer creatures, the Hampstead pigs, the sewer gators, as something of a mythological sidecar to progress. He says, at the time, London's relationship with its rural surroundings was changing due to factors such as the advent of railways, factories, the metropolis's ever-expanding growth, the migration from the countryside to the city. Might Hampstead's legends of sewer pigs then, like New York's cow tunnels, have perhaps been a reflection against these upheavals, a way to remember the rural environment that was rapidly urbanizing? These animals trespassing into modern urban realms might also represent the population's struggle with expanding social class at the time. Camilla Asplund Inglemark, in the Journal of Folklore Research, notes that Roman sewer octopi, the London sewer swine, and the alligators of New York are depictions of social order breaking down. She says, the creatures violating this quintessentially human and man-made environment are characterized as ferocious, potentially physical threat to humans. In addition, their movements from one sphere to another, which I, for the sake of convenience, will label as nature and culture, respectively, moving from nature to culture, represents a conceptual threat to social order. To me personally, this seems like a reaction to the expanding class system. In London, we saw middle classes develop and thrive as we saw the rise of impoverished neighborhoods, the cholera district. In New York, sewer gators arrived just in time for the Great Depression, a time of economic and social collapse. To me, it's no surprise that these originated in Harlem, a neighborhood suffering under the worst effects of the Depression. Much like the cholera districts that Henry Mayhew wrote about 80 years before, that neighborhood was at a nexus of poverty. These subterranean monsters, it seems, are born in times of economic strife.
I think that that's really interesting. I really like that analysis. I think it fits really well with London in particular. But like people were just like throwing their alligators in the sewer in New York, like it wasn't made up. They found 3 alligators wandering around in the sewers. So I think that that's interesting. To me, the alligator one feels like different. I don't know.
But the mythology is still there,
Sure.
I think.
Yeah.
Because I think there was probably a real pig that escaped from the butcher in London, went into the sewers, and got seen later on, too. I think that it still comes from these initial moments,
Yeah.
And then the mythology gets built, and it's ripe for that because of the cultural dynamics that are occurring at the time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like they're kind of like they represent the latent threat of poverty, I think, because you have these poor neighborhoods, and that's where they thrive. The monsters are there. And so in a way, it's kind of like, because of the interconnectedness of the sewers, the interconnectedness of these new financial systems, the monsters can find their way anywhere in your city. Sewer monsters, like poverty, could sneak into your home and attack before you know they're there. One thing really stands out to me, though. Throughout human history, caves have always been underworld entrances, mythologically. Places forbidden to mere mortals, filled with horror. Modern sewer systems, particularly those built during periods of urban upheaval, are at this strange intersection of mythology and engineering. We have humans creating their own dark places, intentionally building these subterranean networks of pseudo streets and causeways underneath their population. No wonder we get these stories of rat queens and albino alligators and cattle highways and things like that. From a folklore standpoint, building a sewer is almost like constructing the underworld. And although they were built by people, their residents quickly became these creatures of legend. I don't think you'll find a monster gator if you're unlucky enough to wander down into your local manhole. But I do love that even in a world where cell phones and online traffic have overrun, there are still places very close to our feet where monsters may yet hide. And that's the story of the Sewer Cryptids.
Nice.
Yay!
I think that's very. I just see Stephen King's It all over this, and just you know what I mean.
We didn't really talk about that, but that's absolutely playing on the same tropes as well. Mm-hmm. You know, this monster creature in the sewer, peeking out of the storm drain, dude. That's what you see in the 1935 alligator encounter. He was crawling down into the storm drain. There was a gator there. Mm-hmm. And then in 1980, whatever, Stephen King was like, oh, it's a clown instead. Or, you know, clown, supernatural, cosmic entity.
Yeah, I think that there's such an interesting play between the innocence of youth and like the fun and the, I don't know, the above ground living and that sharp juxtaposition to the underworld that we created. And we created it to get rid of all of the stuff that we don't want to like live with and look at, and like our own waste and our own like food scraps and shit like that. It's like we don't want to deal with our own humanity. And so when you don't deal with your own humanity, it festers in the dark and it comes back to bite you, which I think is a really interesting little piece of this that I think you said, but I just wanted to say that too.
No, I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Literally comes back to bite you.
Yeah. Well, I have a quick poem.
Yeah. Finish off our poem.
I'm finishing it. I'm finishing Dirty Father Thames by William Newman. Just 2 verses, folks, for those of you who are like, oh, God, poetry. It's cool, though, because it's about beer, too. All right. And from thee is brewed our porter. Thee, thou gully puddle sink. Thou vile cesspool, art the liquor, whence is made the beer we drink. Thou too hast a conservator, he who fills the civic chair. Well, does he conserve thee truly? Does he not, my good Lord Mayor? Very political, bitingly political. There you go.
The idea, it's not something we even fucking talked about. But the idea that they were also, yes, brewing beer from the water that they were dumping their waste into is just stomach turning.
Some of it, was it alcoholic enough to even be clean? I don't know, because I think a lot of that beer was a low alcohol level too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was going to say. At least it's like you're doing some processes that could get rid of some of the bacteria, but like maybe even not. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm not
gross.
sure. I'm not sure you did enough.
Yeah, there's not enough for
We're
me.
so spoiled now. Like, well, those of us that live in areas with clean water, because if my water's even like too minerally, I'm like, I don't know if I want to drink this. I'm like, filtered, please.
I know.
And meanwhile, they're just like drinking gross wastewater.
Yeah. Yeah, we're very, very fortunate. It is a time to reflect upon that, for sure.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There's a bit more reality in this one than in some of the things that we've talked about, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised when I started actually, because I was sure I was going to go in and read about sewer gators and it was all going to be a myth that was brought up, and it was not. And that was surprising. Also, I really want somebody to make a movie about Teddy May and his alligator hunters roaming through the streets of New York. I think that'd be great. Like that is ripe for a horror movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So are the Toshers.
Oh yeah, Toshers.
It'd be an
for
incredible
sure.
horror
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
The Toshers would be a really good horror movie. I thought with Teddy May, I was thinking more of like a fictional documentary kind of thing where it's more about like his story of like going down in the sewers and like solving crimes and things like that. More of like a detective kind of drama.
A procedural. Yeah.
Sort of like like sort of based on his life and like solving crimes for the freelance sewer crime guy.
Instead of Dick Tracy, it would be Ick Tracy.
I was just on Law and Order Sewers.
Yeah. Law and Order PVC. Because they love their acronyms.
Fear not those who were disappointed in how much reality there was in this story, because next time we're going to get to something that is very surreal and very out of this world. But until then, thank you all so much for listening. If you are feeling generous, head over to slayingmonsterspodcast.com, click on the support us button at the top of the page, and consider leaving a donation or becoming one of our subscribers there. And we also have a link there to our merch store if you want to wear some of the things that we talk about. And until next time, be safe out there.
Thanks, everybody, very much.
Bye.
Next time. You sit in a canoe in the middle of a lake, surrounded by wilderness, hundreds of miles from civilization. Above you, a blazing ball of light shines in the night sky, menacing and hostile. An otherworldly force from which there can be no escape.
Thanks for listening to Slaying Monsters, the 40 in History podcast. If you like the podcast, there's a couple ways you can show your support. You can tell your friends, you can leave us a rating and review on your podcast platform, or you can head over to slayingmonsterspodcast.com and click on the Support Us button to leave a donation. For questions, suggestions, and other feedback, reach out to us, slayingmonsterspodcast@gmail.com, and stay up to date by following us on socials at Slaying Monsters Podcast. Your support helps us grow, and we are truly grateful to have our listeners and community.